We here at the Sports History Network proudly partner with 26 podcasts, all revolving around the history of sports. But did you know that many of our hosts were sports history authors way before they started their shows? It's true. We've got Joe Ziemba, host of When Football Was Football, Joe Zagurski, host of Pro Football in the 1970s, Mark Morthier, host of Yesterday's Sports, Tommy Phillips, host of Lombardi Memories, and Scott Adamson, co-host of From the 55-Yard Line. All these authors have many books for you to choose from. To check them out, go to our website at sportshistorynetwork.com/sportshistorybooks. Pick up your copy today. Soundtrack provided by Kevin MacLeod of filmmusic.io.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello and welcome to the Sports History Network Showcase, our in-house show featuring SHN podcasters talking sports, talking history, and talking sports history. My name is Oz Davis, host of the Sports History Network's Truly the Goats podcast. And joining me on this episode of the Showcase is the host of Sports History Network podcast, Football is Family, Jeremy McFarlin. Jeremy, how's it going?
Hey, I'm living the dream. I'm feeling really good right now.
Oh, I love that, living the dream. Let's just get right into it. What inspired you to begin podcasting?
Well, it started with actually Hysteria 51, with that group, which is actually supernatural type stuff, which is, I grew up watching the X-Files, loved it. And I love how Hysteria 51 does it. And I thought, that's just real people talking back and forth about interesting things. And then so I started typing in on my podcast. I think I had the iTunes podcast or whatever it is. I typed in sports history, and Arnie's, the Sports History Network, the sports history dude, the football history dude, there we go, popped up. I'm like, you know what? This is pretty cool. So I messaged Arnie and I said, I like what you are doing. Keep it up. And lo and behold, I got a response. Arnie responded to me, and we've been talking, I think, for a couple of years. And then I was listening one day, and he said, if you want to join and become a podcaster, and it's like, you know what? I've been listening for 4 or 5 years total. I would love to do this. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I would love to do this. And, Arnie said, well, let's try it. And the funny thing is, my first interview for the Football Was Family podcast, it was one of the vice presidents of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
I just sent an email out and I got him on, and I thought, wow, this is pretty fun. Not that I'm good at it, but this is fun. And that's the thing I like about podcasting, at least what I do, is I want it's like I prefer a record over CD because I like the white noise. I like the bumps. I like the scratches. It just makes it real. And I want people to talk to me. I don't want them to be kind of like rehearsed. I want it to be real. And that's what I enjoy about the podcasting.
Yes, it's conversational.
Absolutely.
I honestly believe that the interview style podcast is bringing back the art of conversation that was basically killed by late night talk shows.
Yeah, I could see that.
You can actually still have a conversation on a podcast and, talk about something other than the product that you're plugging for 10 minutes. And then,
and I want them, I want them to plug, a book. I've interviewed a few authors and I've read their books, and I want them to plug there, and I want them to plug their Twitter. But we're talking what makes them sports fans, what makes them want to write a book. Jack Gilden, what made him want to write a book about the Baltimore Colts. And we spent 37 minutes, and I think we got around that topic maybe for 2. We were talking about other things. It's just fun, and I want people to be able to feel free to talk about. The one that I got coming up this coming Thursday is over how sports and real world events, how sports helps the nation of America heal. and we're going to talk about it. It's actually pretty interesting.
Yeah, I can think of several in my lifetime, right? You have the Yankees Diamondbacks World Series after September 11th.
Yeah.
You have the continuation of the Bay Area World Series after the earthquake.
Yeah, I remember that vividly.
To all of us that love football, this podcast is for you. In the course of this podcast, I want to delve into the history of each and every one of the 32 NFL teams, along with the great players and plays which made those teams special. I also want to talk to fans of each one of these teams and see why that particular team is important to them, what makes their memories that they hold dear so special, and to get their perspective on why their team is great. I'm a firm believer that football is family. As we find out what makes each of these NFL teams unique, we will discover why that's the case. I hope you will join me as we go down the list of the 32 NFL teams.
Okay, talk about, how can I put it, the frame of your series, how you do your series, because it's one of those, why didn't I think of that ideas?
Well, about 3 or 4 years ago, and I actually found a song, and I cannot think of the group right off the top of my head, but I actually have it on my phone. It's an interesting song. The NFL, before the season started, came out with a commercial that basically has people getting into gear and doing traditional things to get ready for a game. And in the bottom, the music was they're playing "Home." We're going home, and I was thinking, golly, that sounds awesome to make. Why? Here's the thing. I was looking today that an average family of 4 to go to a football game is going to be about $400 just to get the tickets.
Right.
Most people don't have that. And I think what the NFL or any sports are forgetting, that you can sell all sorts of TV ads, but the people who sit in the seats, they're the people who are buying what you're selling. Football is not about the players so much as it is about the fans who make the players millionaires. And this is what I wanted to show. Why do people like the sports, the teams that they do?
Mm-hmm. 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 Nice. I always feel compelled to point out at this point, though, when you say it's the fans that make the players millionaires, I would also point out that it's the fans and the citizens that make the owners billionaires. I think I always think that needs to be pointed out. I don't mean to have an attitude problem, but you know.
No, it is, and it's a business, and I understand that. If you want to pay a player $12-13 million a year, go right ahead. Mm-hmm. I have no problem with that. Mm-hmm. But just keep in mind where the money is coming from.
Yes, of course.
Got to keep the fans.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not pushing back on you. It's more like I'm pushing with you.
So I agree.
This is the thing for me, is that it seems to me that they're pricing the normal fan out of the game. That's it. They're just pricing us out. And they're kind of almost feeling the pinch on this a little bit. There's a little bit of backlash, because it's as though, okay, so the argument becomes, okay, so why should I pay $100 per ticket, $75 for parking, pay for the babysitter or whatever, get beers at the game, which are like, $12 each or whatever, when I can just sit at home and grab a beer from my fridge and watch it on my big screen TV.
And that's actually kind of interesting. Reading in, and I forgot what book it was, they're talking about how at the very beginning, the NFL was trying to put it on TV, but they were losing fans. It was baseball too. And they thought, well, TV won't work. Well, TV is where they get the vast majority of the money that they make in a year. But you'll notice that this coming year, we might be seeing a fallback on the cap space simply because they didn't make enough money because people weren't in the stadium.
Yep, that's what they're doing in the end. Okay, so let's talk about the title of your podcast, Football is Family. What does that say to you? And talk to us about the format of your show.
When I say football is family, I grew up watching Vanderbilt football, Vanderbilt Commodores. I didn't see very many winning seasons at all. But I got a job in a little town called Aliceville, Alabama. And when I went down there, my son and my daughter, my oldest son and my middle daughter, were born in Tuscaloosa. They were born in Tuscaloosa. So I started to see people flock to the games, tailgate. They were rabid Alabama fans, and if you were an Auburn fan in that area, you're in trouble. But I started seeing how people, they even named their kids Bear or Brian.
Wow, really?
Wow. It happened, and when I was looking at that, I thought, you know what, people really do, and it's okay. Enjoy the game. I thought about naming my dog. I got a dog the same day that Bud Adams passed away, and I thought about naming him Bud. I thought that's just, remember the great owner that we had here for the Tennessee Titans. But people really do find a family in, season ticket holders sit next to people for years, and they even go to their weddings, and they may go to a funeral, or they'll send birthday cards. It becomes a family when you didn't have it. And that's the neat part about sports, is that you're brought together for 60 minutes or, 3 hours on a Sunday, but that becomes a bond that you can say, I went to this school and we follow this team, or my pro team is this. And, baseball and basketball does the same thing, hockey too, but, we're looking primarily at football.
Right. On your podcast, Football is Family. One of the things about a family and about a situation like a team is that, even if you go to one home game of your hometown baseball team, out of 81, you speak a language, right? You speak the same language that only those people speak. Again, like a family, there's certain references that only they get. There's
Absolutely.
There's a way of dressing even. There's a way of speaking even in these places with strong fan cultures. Let's see. What else can... Oh, yes. Okay. I wanted to ask you this, but I know most people say it's like your kids, but do you have a favorite episode so far?
A favorite episode? No. I don't, mainly because, to be honest, I don't remember everything that we talked about in it, but I have that ability. It's a superpower that I forget what I mentioned about an hour earlier. It's just a superpower I have.
Forgetful man.
Yes, and I even forget that I'm forgetful sometimes. No, not really. Mainly because each one of them adds a little aspect that is special. And for me to say, like I have 3 kids. Well, what kid's favorite? I can't do that because each one of them has a part. They have something that you love about them that makes them special. And each one of my shows, I think we've had 20. This will be 20 that I've done so far this coming Thursday. They're special in and of themselves. Now, if you listen to the first 3 or 4, you can tell that I have no clue what I was doing. And the rest of them, I really don't know what I'm doing. So you could definitely tell a difference. But there's a special feeling to each one of them. But I have enjoyed talking with authors, and I'm working on a couple more because I just love how people can get deep into a subject enough to write a book.
Right. We'll talk about the upcoming Super Bowl momentarily, but I wanted to know, as a Titans fan, how did you assess this past season 2020 for your team?
Gosh.
Were you disappointed as compared to the 2019 season when you got all the way to the AFC Championship?
Okay. It's hard when you hit the pinnacle of the AFC Championship, which is pretty big. I mean, you only have one team out of 16 that go there, 2 teams that go there. To me, if we had the 2019 defense and the 2020 offense, we would have beaten any team in our way. we just couldn't get off the field at third down. It looks like we didn't know how to play man-to-man defense, and our secondary was porous, and we didn't get to the passer. But our offense was just insane. And I'm kind of, it's great to say that we had a 2,000-yard runner, but have you ever looked about what happened the next season? Derrick Henry is probably my favorite player in the league right now. And I kept telling people he's Alabama, which means he's great, but he's going to be something even better. And they're like, no. It's like, okay, just wait. To say that he will do it again, he's a human. He might not, but man, it kind of, I'm a little disappointed, mainly because we lost to the Ravens. I'm disappointed in that. But to say that this was a bad season, no, this was a great season. This was a great season.
Really? Wow. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm definitely determining that you're an optimist, Jeremy.
Well, you have to be. We went through. In fact, I'm working on articles for the Sports History Network over the 2008 Tennessee Titans. And if you follow me on Twitter, you'll see a lot of pictures about the 2008 Titans. That was the last time that we had a team that contended for anything. 2008. So 2000, we had 3 years with 9-7, and then we finished up with 11-5. That's pretty good to me. We did well, and I'll take it, even though we probably could have beaten the Bills last week, and I don't know if we could have beat the Chiefs. I don't know if anybody could beat the Chiefs, to tell you the truth.
Seems like it. Maybe only touchdown Tom and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can stop them. What did you let's just go right into that then. What did you take away from last week's games, other than that the Chiefs seem to be unstoppable? And what are you looking forward to for the Super Bowl? And be careful, because this is being recorded for posterity.
That's fine. Here's the thing. Let me throw this out here. If Tom Brady wins, I have a Tom Brady jersey, and I actually have a Tampa Bay Buccaneers hat. I will probably be wearing it.
Wow.
When they were losing to the Falcons a few years ago in the Super Bowl, I said, guys, just wait. Tom will do it, and sure enough. If Tom Brady, and if you're listening, Tom, if you win this, please retire on top like Peyton Manning, like my man John Elway did. Please. Don't come back. The Bills really should have been a lot more aggressive. You cannot beat the Chiefs with field goals. But I love, that game with the Packers and the Buccaneers was a classic. It was a classic. That was one of those games that you just cannot leave because you're just drawn in by the drama. It was amazing. But my thing is, I believe that the Buccaneers will win by a field goal. I believe the Buccaneers will win by a field goal.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now they don't have Vinatieri.
No, but they've got Mike Evans had a down game. He had a down game, but to me, I would put him, if I can get him next to A.J. Brown and with Corey Dillon's not there. Corey Davis in the slot, we'd have the top wide receiver combo in Tennessee Titans history ever. I mean, put him anywhere. Mike Evans is a beast. With Rob Gronkowski, there's a guy, Hudson. There's several people who are playing for the Buccaneers that you don't know their names, but they're winning, and they beat the Packers, which the Packers looked unbeatable for several weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, 3 weeks ago, nobody knew who Devin White was, and now all of a sudden he's the third best defensive player in the league.
You see how fast things change.
Well, yeah. Well, no, I think it's just people waking up. It's the big stage. I mean, Tampa played their last couple regular season games against Detroit, I think, and Minnesota or something like this. I mean, it's like nobody was watching, right? Nobody was watching. The teams to me, they ebb and flow, right? Buffalo ended up peaking just about 2 weeks too soon. In fact, exactly 2 weeks too soon, right? Because otherwise they'd be in the Super Bowl next week.
I would have loved to have seen Buffalo in the Super Bowl. It would have been great.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you remember the '90s, right? Oh yeah. You should be hoping they're in the Super Bowl after you robbed them out of the playoffs that one year.
Oh no, that was a legal play. That was a play that, you know, I've dealt with it for years. I have the picture up on my wall in my office of the Music City Miracle. I actually have this on my phone where I could play Mike Keith doing the Music City Miracle. My son, when he was 2 or 3 years old, could say he could go all the way. He could do that because I'm that type of dad. I had him learn it.
You know,
So,
I drew up notes for this show before we started, and it didn't even occur to me to ask you about that play. Perhaps the most notorious, probably the second most notable play in Titans history, next to reaching for the goal line on the final play of the Super Bowl.
Now you hit in the fields right there. That I remember. I was a junior. I'll tell you this. I was a junior at Freed-Hardeman University. My friends and I were sitting on a futon, and we all jumped toward the TV when he did that. Kevin Dyson did that. I remember that vividly too. And it hurts.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Sorry for the feels there. But wow.
No, it's okay.
What a Super Bowl. What a Super Bowl that was.
Yeah, it was. In fact, the 2 Super Bowls before that, my team, the Broncos, at that moment with John Elway, won the Super Bowl, and then then the Titans next year. I'm like, this is really good. I like this. And
I'm glad you came back to that, actually, because I really find it hard to believe that there will ever be anyone who exits like Elway again. Don't you think? I mean, you said that Peyton should go out on top, but that defense carried those Broncos really for the past 2 seasons, even the past 3, you might argue, that in which they made 2 Super Bowls. So,
I agree. But what is the image that people show whenever you look at that Super Bowl? Peyton holding, Tiffany, and that's to me, Is Tom carrying the Buccaneers? Maybe.
No.
But if he wins in a couple of weeks, what is all the information? Everybody's going to be focused on him holding Tiffany and saying, "Is this it for him?"
Yeah. Even if it's a 10-7 game, but it won't be it for him. I'm not sure that they can beat this team. For me, the question for me is this. Yes, Brady, the GOAT, he has, I know about the GOAT, right? He has all of this, acumen, right? He pulls these victories out of his butt constantly, he's still like the leader of this team. I don't think he's carrying this team, but I don't think he's drag on this team like Peyton Manning was in his last year either. I think this is
not at all.
This is an all-star team that's taken a lot of chances and winning.
You have to play it above who you are in the playoffs, especially. And watching the last couple of games, they outplayed themselves.
Right. Yeah. But
if he does, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, okay, but don't you expect to be saying, if not the exact same thing, like similar superlatives for Mahomes in the future? Is this where it begins?
Well,
the legend of Mahomes, he knocked off Tom Brady.
Patrick Mahomes is one of my top favorite players right now. Love him. Love his commercials. He just seems like he's a good guy. But here's the problem that the Chiefs are going to face. That guy is going to be paid $50 million a year starting next year or the year after that. Now, I'm not going to make $50 million in 10 lifetimes, but they're going to get that hit on their cap. You keep Patrick Mahomes because he is an animal. He is probably going to come down in the top 10 of all time in quarterbacks. He's just that good. But when you have a $210 million cap and 50 of it is used up by one player, it's going to be hard. Now, if that turns out that he carries a team, you know, it just proves how great. But you remember the year where the Patriots played the Rams in the Super Bowl? The Patriots played a defense where they would bump the receivers within 2 yards and knock them off course. That's what their goal was, because they could not keep up with the greatest show on turf. Look at the Buccaneers to do the same thing, especially with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. But Patrick Mahomes can carry a team. I believe he can. I still think Buccaneers by 3, but that's just me.
In any case, I just want to get in this last bit here. You know, Brady restructured his deal all the time. Peyton Manning did. And the other side of it is you have guys like Kelce. Okay, now Kelce is going to be awesome anywhere, like Rob Gronkowski. But guess what? He probably wants to stay with Mahomes. And then you got a guy like Sammy Watkins who has played on a bunch of losers like the old Rams, you know, and the old Bills, you know, and now he's on a winner. You know, I don't think he wants to leave, particularly since basically his specialty is the long route. That's pretty much it. You know, so I can imagine a future where you keep your core guys together. You know, the offensive line will probably want to stay there. And, you know, the defense is never going to improve. But you remember those St. Louis Rams teams. There was one year where they set a record for points scored and points allowed in the same season. You know,
that's why you have to. Well, maybe Patrick Mahomes can do the Bobby Bonilla thing. Every year he gets, you know, for the next 40 years he gets $10 million on June the 1st. Who knows? I'm saying it's hard. This is hard to be a GM. I have a lot of respect for those guys. I really do.
Yeah, especially in a system like football, which is so closed.
Yes.
I mean, this is the talent pool. That's it. These are viable players. There's nobody coming from Latin America. You know, there's nobody coming from Europe. In the case of basketball, you know, that's it. These are your players. You know, a few hundred American guys and a couple of Canadians. That's it. So, in any case, all right. Hey, Jeremy McFarlin of Football is Family here at the Sports History Network. Thanks for joining us this evening. And I guess good luck to your Titans in the future. I will see about your Buccaneers prediction.
Well, hey, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And this is the best part about sports. You can have fun with it. I'm not making any money off of it. We're not involved with the game, so we can have a back and forth and have a little fun with it. That's what sports to me is. If you're not having fun with something, what's the point? And that's part of the reason why I love football is that ever since I can remember watching my first game, which pretty much was the Super Bowl with John Elway versus the Super Bowl where the Redskins won 42-10. I got upset, but I was like, you know what? I didn't have a skin in the game. Enjoy it.
Yeah, you can be a fan of a team as long as your pony isn't in the race. You can just enjoy the beauty of the game.
Enjoy the beauty of the game, absolutely.
This has been the SHN Showcase podcast. We'd like to thank our guest, Jeremy McFarlin of the Football is Family podcast, which can be found at sportshistorynetwork.com or wherever you get your podcast. The theme song for the SHN Showcase is Quartz by Onitech, and it is available through fair use agreement via freemusicarchive.org. SHN Showcase will be back soon with another Sports History Network podcast. Until then, this is Oz Davis saying stay safe and stay historical.
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings you sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique items with the retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row One catalog and for gallery prints and gift items, plus get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row One Pictorum Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.